Hey everyone, this is just going to be a quick tutorial on how to add countries to XCOM 2 as we currently know it. It's the very early days, things might still be broken, there are things missing, we don't have custom names or anything like that, but you can get the flag in and we can get it so you can add it to your soldier customization. Bear in mind, I'm not an expert on this, I've kind of hacked it together. Even during this tutorial I'm going to be kind of looking back and forth at my own examples to make sure everything's right. And the best thing you can do is go on the workshop, download a mod that does this, and look through its files and figure out how to replicate it. So first thing you're going to need is the XCOM 2 development tools. You can get that from library tools. Down here at the bottom, install this. Once it's downloaded, you'll need to go to your installation, Steam apps, Common, XCOM 2 SDK, and documentation, and look at this quick start guide here. You explain how to get everything and how to install it all correctly. So once you've done that, you're going to boot it up and you're going to be greeted by a screen very similar to this. So what we want to do is we want to create a new mod and we want to choose default mod and name it here. And it's very important what you name it because you need to keep a lot of things very consistent. Otherwise, it's going to throw a bunch of errors at you. So we're going to say this, we're going to call this Add United Nations, right? And we're going to add the United Nations as a country. So that's okay. Let's call this Add United Nations as well. Add the UN as a country for soldier customization. There you are. So that's fine. That's just the description. You can edit that later, but for now that is going to be fine. I'm just going to create a project, which takes a little while. It's going to take a little. Shouldn't normally take you this long. It's just I'm recording to the same hard drive that it's trying to create this on, but that's okay. And what this is going to do is create a bunch of folders. Now mine is saving to my documents for access modbuddy XCOM, and it's saving in here. There's a bunch of stuff, so as I've been trying to figure out, it should be called whatever you've named it, Add United Nations. That's fine. So in here we've got a bunch of stuff. Here's all the source code for the game. There's quite a lot of it. Here are a bunch of config files that we need, and here are our source files and content. So first thing we're going to want to do is create what's called a UPK file, which is part of the Unreal editor, and that will store our images. So we're going to go up to Tools, XCOM 2 Editor, and boot this up. Now the first time you open this up, it will ask for a Perforce login. If you're modding by yourself, you shouldn't need that. If you're modding as a group, you might be able to set something up with that. I'm not 100% sure, but for the most part, you can just ignore it. It's not a big issue. Alright. And it should just load very soon. Okay, so now we are in the Unreal editor. You're going to get a bunch of errors here. That's pretty normal. So we can press OK. So here's the Unreal editor. This is the content browser where we'll be spending most of our time. This is the actual 3D viewport, but we don't need that for now. In fact, I don't know if we'll need this at all. So there are three things we need for this to work. We need the actual flag texture that goes on the back of your soldier. We need a data structure called an archetype that references that. I'm not sure how these work quite yet. I'm sure some people much cleverer than me will figure it out. And we also need a UI flag. Where is it? This keeps jumping. A UI flag in here to add this, right? So what we're actually going to do is, rather than modifying or adding to these UBKs, we're going to create our own and package that in with the mod, and all will be gravy. So what we're going to do is, to make sure the settings are the same and all set up correctly, I'm going to create a copy of this texture here, create a copy, and it's going to come up with this dialog. Now it's going to ask for a package, So you could type in any of these packages or choose one of these, and it'll place it in, and it's basically like a specialized zip folder that stores all your thing, and then a grouping is like a subfolder within that. So what I'm going to call this is just say UI library UN or something. All right. So that's fine. I don't think it really matters what you call this too much, but I'm just going to stick with the current naming convention I've been following, and I'm going to just stick it in this grouping name country flags. And we're going to change that from UK to UN. That's fine. So now down here under new packages, we've got this package here, UI library UN country flags. Now we're also going to take one of these flags in here. We're going to take this flag here, create a copy, and we're going to stick it in the same folder. So we're going to change this to UI library underscore UN. We're going to put it in country flags, and we're going to name this flag UN. Alright, and now the last step we need to do is grab the archetype. I haven't been talking about where these all are. So the actual flags are in XCOM 2. So make sure you're on packages here. You got this selected. Alright, XCOM 2, packages, characters, humans, soldiers, shared, SLD flags. That's where that one is. The archetype is in packages, game data, X2 unit flags, and then the UI library thing is in packages GFX. And you scroll down to UI library common, and it's in the country flags group. Okay, so we should, we didn't copy over the archetype, did we? So let's grab that archetype in here. So let's grab the UK one again, create a copy. I'm going to put it in UI library UN country flags. Now we've already got something called flag UK UN in here, so we're just going to add arch for archetype at the end. Now the way this is all grouped and set up probably isn't entirely necessary, but it's just the way I've known to do it, so I'm going to just leave it that way for now. And we'll see how it goes. So we've got these all in, and that's fine, but they obviously look like the UK flag, and we don't want that. So we're going to go instead to Photoshop, where I've got a couple of files set up. Thank you to Peewee for sending us all a template that we can use. So what I'm going to do is take this file, save as, and we want to go to where our mod is, which is Documents, Fraxis mod body, UN, and in there in our mod folder we're going to create content folder, and in there we're going to save this. So we're going to call this flag UN like that, and you want to save it as a target. Save 24 bits is fine, and we want to take this one, and this image is the one that goes on their back stitch, and it is a 256 by 128 texture, and this is a 128 by 64, and this is used in the UI. So we save this as a TGA as well in the same place. So we want UI flag UN. Alright, so now we need to import those into the editor. Okay, so we're going to click import in here, browse over to where those are, content, and grab both of these, import both of those into this folder here. Alright, so it's going to automatically, because we're in this folder, it's going to assume we want to put it in there. That's fine, we want to. And make sure the names are the same as what you named these textures. Alright, so then what happens is you hit OK, and it says, well, there are already settings here. Do you want to keep the settings? So we press keep, and it should do the same thing, hopefully. Oh, you need to hit OK. of course. Okay, so now if we click over, those refresh and we can see they've been updated with the textures we want. Last thing we need to do is look into this archetype, and if you see, look here, it's still referencing that old UK flag. So what we want to do is select our flag UN, which is this texture here. Click over here and press this little green arrow, make sure it's selected, and it will plug it in there so it now references the texture we want it to. So that's fine. So now we're going to come over to here to new packages. We're going to right click, save, and it hasn't saved anywhere before. There isn't a save location yet. So what we're going to do is actually put it in our added unit content, and we're going to just save it in here as UI library _un.upk, and that's basically a zip of all this data that we need. So we don't need this anymore. We can exit out of here and we can head in here. So obviously we now have a content folder here which we added manually. So now if we go add existing item, browse into our content folder, we can now see our UPK is right here. So we can just select this and add that in. So we can now reference it in any of our scripts that we need to do. Now, for mod packages, we now have a new package, which is this UPK file that we need to reference. So we're going to add this. We're going to name this UI library UN, and that makes sure, so you just name it whatever you named your UPK, and it should load it fine. What else do we need to do in here? Let's have a look. So we're going to need a new ini file here. So add new item, and it's going to be a config file. And let me just take a quick look at what I've got from my Somalia mod here. This is called XCOM gameboard.ini. Right? XCOM gameboard.ini, and it's a configuration file. I'm going to add this, and it's empty. So if we look in this one, we can see my little template. So we're going to just paste this in. Now, the way this works is kind of confusing, so I might not try and explain it, to be honest, because of how confusing it is. But you basically just want to add this configuration type, right? So you can change this to the name of the country that you want. So for me it's UN, and the flag archetype is referencing that package, so we need to change this package to UN, and then it's saying, so UN in the package this, in this group, and this is the archetype we want. Now we don't want the Somalia archetype, we want UN arch, which is that archetype that we named. We want to do the same thing here, so this is going to be UN like this, and then UN here, and you can set all these race information. I'm not sure if this works, although I'm assuming it does, but that's fine. And you can set the weight, how often they'll randomly be generated. So if we just save all that. So we also need some source files, like this one here, although this one is a bit broken. So let's look at the one that actually 100% works. Gameboard.ini. Yeah, so I did make a small adjustment to this, so you don't need this plus symbol there. That's fine. I was looking at a slightly outdated version of the mod, but that's okay. So now we also need this. This is based on, because we've got all the source code here, if we search for country here, or counter, you'll get X2 strategy element default countries, and this is basically what we're going to copy off of. So in fact, let's copy out of here. So we're going to press Control A, Control C to copy all that, or we could just do it easier like this. Copy that whole class, and we're going to go inside our source code and paste the source code here. Now it's kind of bugged out here, which is kind of frustrating. So what I tend to do is save, just wait for it to save properly. There we are. Close this. Open it again. Reopen the file. Scroll back up so we can actually see. And there we are. So we've got this in here now. So we can open it up. Now, the way this works is there's a template. There's a class that holds a template for how the countries are generated and how the randomly generated names are put in. So when we figure out how to add the names properly, this will be important. So what we're going to do is copy this, paste this in, and change this to UN template. And we're going to get rid of all the rest of these because we don't need them. We're just adding to it. And then we're going to copy one of these. So this just calls one of these. In fact, it calls all of them in order, but that's okay. So we're going to delete the rest of these that we don't need. So you want to change. So I changed this to create UN template. We're going to change this one to create UN template as well. We're going to come down here, have a look. Our country isn't going to be USA. Our country is going to be UN. And it's going to use America's names to generate them. That's fine. Everything is hunky-dory. So we're going to just save this. And you're going to get this error. Just click overwrite. I'm going to rename this to add UN. It's probably going to bug out. That's fine. So if we save this all out, as I've said, I'm really not an expert at this. I'm just kind of fumbling my way through. There are people out there that are much better and I figured this out much more eloquently. So you can't find that because we renamed it, but that's okay. So if we add existing source, there you are, add UN here. So what else is needed? We also need a localization file. So if you look at the XCOM game.int, if it isn't there, just add it. And we want to add, where is it? Country Somalia, localization. So this will take the country that we've created in the template and give it a display name. So we want to call it United Nations. Now, what you'll want to do is if you actually look in the game directory at its localizations, you can see that it has a whole bunch, like Russian, Polish, Korean, Japanese, all these, right? And you want to add a XCOM game dot whatever to each and every single one of these. So if we look at dot France, where is it? XCOM game dot France. You can open this with Notepad, and you can look for country. There we go. So as you can see, it has the names for all the countries in French. So if you don't add all these, it won't appear in other languages. Now I'm not going to do that for this example because it's going to take far too long. In fact, let's just add one. No, it's going to take too long. You should be able to figure it out. It shouldn't be too difficult. Right, and you just follow this kind of convention. Oops. Yeah. So that's saved. Is there anything else that needs to be done? Maybe, but let's just start debugging this. It's going to build it out for us and we can check to see if this is working. If it isn't, we'll have to have a look at my example mod and see if we can figure it out. It might take a little moment. Feel free to skip ahead. I'm not editing this video because that would take far too long for something that is very low effort. Seems good. A huge thank you to Amineri on the Nexus forums. She's part of Long War 3DS. She's been hugely helpful. Post there if you need any help, or a bunch of people come out to help. Arno posted on XCOM 2 subreddit and he was like, yeah, I'll come help you out, and we sat on Skype for like 8 hours yesterday figuring this all out. Pee-wee on Steam much better than me. Message them if you want to know how to do this, because they figured out a lot more stuff. But we were the first, so I am pretty proud of that. Let's save this one. No, that's not, in case it breaks something. Alright. So you select your mod in that menu. If it doesn't appear in that menu, what I would do is hit build solution, and then hit debug, start debugging. Sometimes it doesn't appear in that menu. You can manually copy it over, but you shouldn't need to. Alright. So the XCOM should be loading now. Here we go. I recommend playing in like windowed mode and the lowest graphics settings, just speed up your boot times and stuff. Hopefully this works, so I don't have to start again or go back and figure out where I've gone wrong. So if we go into the character pool, create a new character, nationality, let's have a look all the way down at the bottom. There we are, United Nations. We've got a little UI flag here. On the back patch, he's got a flag here. All is good. So now that that's all working, there are a few things we need to do just to clean this all up. So we no longer need any of the source file classes, so we can delete that. So let's just save all, make sure that's actually worked. Pull that open up again. Alright. Because don't do the thing that I did where I uploaded my mod with the entire game's worth of source files. That was dumb. Do you want to actually delete? Okay, let's try saving that now. See if that worked. We're going to set the unit weight to something a little bit lower. No, let's do 500 or something. I don't know. Let's do, no, let's just do 20. I don't know what the numbers are in the actual game. You can look that up. Let me just make sure that's all saved properly. Right, that looks to be good. No, no. Maybe because I've got some stuff open here. Might not like me deleting it while I've got it open. There we are. So that's all deleted, that's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to, well, first we should probably change our mod preview so that it looks kind of nice. So what we can actually do is grab, I did have a, let's grab a new one, United Nations flag. Be careful grabbing images off the internet because they tend to be copyrighted. For flags, I wouldn't be too worried. But if you're doing something, you know, based on a movie or I don't know, something. Excuse me. Oh, right. Just make it. I'm probably doing this in a really bad way, but image mode. But that's fine. I can live with that. There we are. File, save that. No, let's copy that, paste that there. File, save. Right. So now, if we check this, that's our United Nations. Excellent. So what we're going to do is go to, have to make sure it all works in the debug. You're going to want to go to build, tools, publish mod. Add the United Nations, add the UN as a country for solder customization. Thanks to Arno and Peewee. Also serves as a demo for making your own countries. Link is coming soon, and I will link back to this video. Amazing. Now this isn't updated for some reason. I'm not sure why that happens, but I'm gonna have to just leave it and hope it actually works as it uploads to Steam. So it's gonna go through, package and mod all up, and upload it to the Steam Workshop, which should happen soonish. This will take a little bit longer the first time you do it. Alright, so it looks like that went through. It just looked like it had hanged on something, but that's fine. So if we I'm just doing an update to see if this will work. There we go. So it's going to give us a link now. It might take a while for it to appear at that link. Yeah. So what you'll need to do is go to the workshop, go to your files, click on this file here, the file that is you want to add, and make sure you change the visibility to public so everyone can see. That should be fine. So that should be all set up now. And your mod should work in game. Hopefully that's helpful. Goodbye.